Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Unspoken Office. I'm Austin.
And I'm Michelle. Welcome to episode 3. Austin, I am so excited about today's topic.
Absolutely. Today we're tackling something that I know so many of our listeners struggle with: how to negotiate deadlines with your manager in a professional way.
Yes, and before we dive in, I want to say something really important to our ESL community listening right now.
Please do.
This conversation isn't about having perfect grammar or perfect pronunciation. It's about protecting your work quality and setting realistic expectations. These are business skills that even native English speakers struggle with.
Exactly right. So whether you've been working in English for 1 year or 10 years, these phrases and strategies will help you communicate more confidently with your manager.
Perfect. So let's start with segment 1, how to professionally push back on unrealistic deadlines. Austin, can you set up a scenario for us?
Sure. Picture this. Your manager comes to your desk on a Wednesday and says, "I need this report finished by Friday morning." But you know this report normally takes you 2 full weeks to complete properly.
Ugh, that's stressful. And I think a lot of our listeners might feel like they have to just say yes, right?
Exactly. But here's the thing. Saying yes to an impossible deadline often leads to poor quality work, stress, and actually damages your professional reputation.
So true. So instead, we want to reframe this as a strategic business discussion. Let's teach some key vocabulary first. Austin, can you explain bandwidth?
Great word. Bandwidth in business means your capacity, how much work you can realistically handle. It's not about being lazy or slow, it's about being realistic about time and resources.
Perfect. So you might say, given my current bandwidth, I can deliver this report by next Wednesday. That sounds professional, right?
Absolutely. And here's another key term: prioritization. This means deciding which tasks are most important and should be done first.
Yes, and this is where it gets really powerful. You can say something like, I want to make sure I understand the prioritization here. Should I focus on this new report first or continue with the client presentation that's due Monday?
That's brilliant. You're not saying no, you're asking for clarity about what's most important.
Exactly. Now let's talk about some power phrases. One of my favorites is, to ensure I deliver the best quality. This immediately shows you care about doing excellent work.
I love that. So you might say, to ensure I deliver the best quality report, I'll need until next Wednesday. Would that timeline work for the project?
Perfect. Another great phrase is, given my current bandwidth. This sounds so much more professional than saying, I'm too busy or I don't have time.
Right. Given my current bandwidth, I can complete a thorough analysis by Thursday. Would that meet your needs?
Yes, and notice how Austin ended with a question. Would that meet your needs? This keeps the conversation collaborative.
Exactly. You're not being difficult, you're being strategic. You're helping your manager understand what's realistic and what will produce the best results.
I think this is so important for our listeners to understand. In American business culture, managers actually respect employees who can communicate realistic timelines professionally.
Absolutely. It shows you're thinking strategically about the business, not just about avoiding work.
Perfect. So now let's move to segment 2, where we'll do a brief role play. This will show you how these conversations actually sound in real life.
Great idea. I'll play the manager, and Michelle, you'll be the employee who needs to discuss competing priorities. Ready?
Ready, let's do this.
Michelle, I need you to prepare the quarterly budget analysis. Can you have it ready by tomorrow afternoon?
I'd be happy to work on the budget analysis. Could we reassess the timeline for this? I want to make sure I understand the prioritization here. I'm currently finishing the client proposal for the Johnson account, which is due Friday.
The Johnson proposal is important too. What do you think would work best?
Well, if I focus on the budget analysis tomorrow, I'll need to deprioritize the Johnson proposal until next week, given my current bandwidth. To ensure I deliver the best quality on both projects, could the budget analysis be completed by Friday instead?
That makes sense. Friday works for the budget analysis. Thanks for thinking through the priorities with me.
Perfect. And scene. How did that sound, everyone?
I think that was great. Did you notice how Michelle used several of our key phrases? Could we reassess the timeline for? I want to understand the prioritization here, and given my current bandwidth.
Right, and I used collaborative language like, if I focus on this new project, I'll need to deprioritize. This shows I'm thinking about the bigger picture, not just my own workload.
Exactly. The key is always to sound like a strategic business partner, not someone who's just complaining about being busy.
Perfect. Now let's move to our favorite segment, the phrase bank. This is where we summarize all the key vocabulary and phrases so you can write them down and practice.
Yes, grab a pen, everyone. Let's start with vocabulary. First word, bandwidth, your capacity for work. Given my current bandwidth, I can complete this by Tuesday.
Perfect. Second word, prioritization, deciding what's most important. I want to understand the prioritization here. Should I focus on project A or B first?
Great. Now let's talk about our power phrases. First phrase, to ensure I deliver the best quality. This shows you care about excellence.
Second phrase, given my current bandwidth. This is a professional way to discuss your workload capacity.
Third phrase, could we reassess the timeline for? This is a gentle way to start a conversation about changing deadlines.
Fourth phrase, if I focus on this new project, I'll need to deprioritize. This shows you understand that time is limited and choices must be made.
And here's one more really important phrase, manage expectations. This means being proactive about communicating realistic timelines before problems happen.
Yes, so you might say, I want to manage expectations about the timeline. This type of analysis usually takes me 3 days to complete thoroughly.
Perfect. That's proactive communication at its best. You're not waiting for a problem, you're preventing it.
Exactly. So let me recap our complete phrase bank one more time. Are you ready to write these down?
Ready.
Given my current bandwidth, to ensure I deliver the best quality, could we reassess the timeline for? I want to understand the prioritization here. If I focus on this, I'll need to deprioritize, and I want to manage expectations about.
Beautiful. Those 6 phrases will completely transform how you communicate about deadlines at work. Now, before we wrap up, I think we need to tackle an important related topic that many of our listeners ask about. What to do when you're already behind schedule on a project.
Oh yes, this is so important because sometimes, despite your best planning, things go wrong. Maybe you get sick, maybe the project was more complex than expected, or maybe you got pulled into urgent tasks. The key is proactive communication.
Exactly. The worst thing you can do is wait until the deadline passes and then send an email saying, sorry, it's not ready. Your manager needs time to adjust their plans, possibly reassign resources or manage up to their own boss.
So here's a power phrase for when you realize you're going to miss a deadline. I want to give you early visibility into a potential delay. This sounds so much more professional than I'm behind or I can't finish on time.
I love that phrase, early visibility. Shows you're thinking strategically about business impact. You might follow with something like, based on the complexity that's emerged, I'll need until Wednesday to deliver a complete analysis. Here's what I can provide by the original deadline on Monday.
That's brilliant. You're offering a partial deliverable while being transparent about the full timeline. Another key strategy is to explain the business impact. You could say, I want to ensure the data accuracy meets our compliance standards, which requires additional verification time.
Perfect. And here's something really important for our international listeners. In American business culture, managers generally prefer to know about delays as early as possible, even if you're not 100% certain. It's better to over-communicate than to surprise them at the last minute.
So true. Now let's talk about troubleshooting. What do you do when your manager still insists on an impossible deadline even after you've used all these professional phrases?
Great question. This is where you document everything and offer choices. You might say, I understand the urgency. To meet the Friday deadline, I can provide a preliminary version with the key findings, but the detailed analysis with supporting data will need to be completed by the following week. Which approach would work better for your needs?
Exactly. And here's a critical professional tip. After these conversations, send a follow-up email summarizing what was agreed. Something like, "Hi, manager's name. Just to confirm our discussion, I'll provide the preliminary budget analysis by Friday with the detailed breakdown completed by the following Tuesday. Please let me know if I've misunderstood any part of this plan."
This email strategy is so important. It protects you professionally and ensures everyone has the same understanding. Plus, it shows you're organized and detail-oriented, qualities that managers really value.
Now let's talk about reading the room. Sometimes the urgency isn't really about your specific project. It might be because your manager's under pressure from their boss, or there's a client emergency, or the company's preparing for a big presentation.
Absolutely. This is where asking strategic questions really helps. You might say, "Can you help me understand the driving factor behind this timeline? Is this for a client presentation, or is there a regulatory deadline I should be aware of?" This shows you care about the bigger business picture.
Great point. And sometimes understanding the why helps you offer creative solutions. For example, if it's for a client meeting, maybe you can provide executive summary slides while the detailed report comes later. If it's for budget planning, maybe you can focus on the financial projections first and add the supporting analysis afterward.
Perfect. You know what? I think we need another role play to show how these advanced strategies work. Michelle, want to do a scenario where the manager is under pressure from above?
Absolutely. This time, I'll be the stressed manager who just got pressured by the CEO, and you'll be the employee who needs to navigate this carefully. Austin, I just came out of a meeting with the CEO. She wants the market research report for the board meeting Thursday morning. I know we originally planned for next week, but this is now top priority. We have to make this work.
I understand this is urgent for the board meeting. Can you help me understand what specific insights the board needs most? Are they looking for the complete competitive analysis, or would they primarily need the market size data and key trends for their Thursday discussion?
That's a good question. Honestly, I think they mainly need the market size projections and the top 3 competitor insights to make their investment decision. The detailed analysis could come later.
Perfect. That helps a lot. I can definitely prepare a focused executive presentation with those key insights by Wednesday evening. That gives you time to review before the Thursday board meeting. Then I'll complete the comprehensive report with all the detailed analysis by the following Tuesday. Would that approach work?
That's exactly what we need. Thank you for asking about the board's specific requirements. I think that focused approach will actually be more valuable than trying to rush the full report.
And scene. See how that worked? Instead of just accepting an impossible deadline or saying no, I dug deeper to understand the real business need. This is what we call managing up, helping your manager solve their problem more effectively.
Exactly. And notice how the solution was actually better for everyone. The board gets what they need when they need it, I get a reasonable timeline for the complete work, and the company gets higher quality deliverables. This is what good business communication looks like.
Now, let's update our phrase bank with all the advanced strategies we've covered. Everyone grab your pens again. We've got some powerful new phrases to add.
Perfect. For managing delays, I want to give you early visibility into a potential delay. For understanding urgency, can you help me understand the driving factor behind this timeline? For offering alternatives, I can provide a focused version by Friday with the detailed analysis completed next week.
And for documentation and follow-up, just to confirm our discussion. For managing up, what specific insights would be most valuable for this meeting? And for business impact, I want to ensure this meets our compliance standards.
Before we conclude, I want to talk about the long-term impact of mastering these skills. When you consistently communicate about deadlines professionally, your manager starts to trust your judgment. They'll come to you for input on project planning, not just task execution.
Absolutely. And this is how you transition from being seen as just someone who executes tasks to being viewed as a strategic business partner. Managers promote people who can think critically about project priorities and communicate solutions, not just problems.
So, here's your homework for this week. First, practice all these phrases out loud until they feel natural. Second, identify one current project where you can proactively communicate about timeline expectations. Don't wait for a crisis. Be strategic.
Perfect homework assignment. And remember, every professional conversation is a chance to demonstrate your business acumen. Whether you're negotiating deadlines, managing delays, or offering solutions, you're showing your manager that you think like a leader.
Now, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with some encouragement. Learning to negotiate deadlines professionally is a skill that takes practice, even for native English speakers.
Absolutely. And here's my challenge for you this week. Practice saying these phrases out loud. Stand in front of a mirror or practice with a friend. The more you say them, the more confident you'll sound when you need them at work.
Yes, confidence comes from preparation. And remember, you're not being difficult or demanding when you communicate realistic timelines. You're being professional and strategic.
Perfect. Your manager will actually respect you more for thinking about quality and realistic planning.
Now, before we sign off, let me give you a little preview of episode 4. Next week, we're tackling small talk at corporate networking events.
Oh, this is going to be so good. We'll teach you exactly how to start conversations, keep them going, and gracefully exit when you're ready to move on.
Plus, we'll share some secret phrases that make you sound like a confident networking pro, even if you're feeling nervous inside.
Can't wait. All right, everyone, this has been the Unspoken Office. I'm Austin.
And I'm Michelle. Keep practicing those phrases, keep building your confidence, and remember, you've got this.
We'll see you next week.